MP Motorsport have announced their lineup for 2025 in the FIA Formula 2 Championship, where they bring in Oliver Goethe and Richard Verschoor, two drivers carrying different kinds of experience, really. Oliver Goethe did a few rounds last year after leaving the Formula 3 Championship with one round to go. Richard Verschoor, this really now his last stab, we feel, at the Formula 2 Championship. He's been there since 2021. Every season we've seen him on the top step of the podium. He's moved around between teams throughout his time in the Formula 2 Championship. Do we feel now that this could be his last chance to really go in and prove himself before potentially moving on to other things? Let's talk a little bit more about Oliver Goethe first. He did a great campaign in Formula 3 last year, was in that championship contention throughout the season, but decided to move away from the championship to get what was crucial experience in Formula 2, and that could really play a big part as he comes in to Formula 2 this season. Got some really good results, got a 4th place, got in 9th place, and that could become crucial as he comes into this season. As for Richard Verschoor, well, he's been a bit of an unsung hero. A lot of people have been really backing Richard Verschoor. Sometimes things haven't really gone his way, and that's really got the fans behind him. The talent has definitely always been there for Richard Verschoor, but sometimes the results just haven't been there for him. Is this the season that everything combines together for him, in a season where we see a big rotation in drivers in Formula 2? Will that help Richard Verschoor really go on a championship assault and come out the other side successful? Well, here to unpack all of this is Feeder Series F2 editor Martin Lloyd. Let's hear what he has to say.
So I think 2024 was a really impressive year for MP Motorsport, not just in the aspect of finishing third in the championship, which is quite an achievement in itself, given some of the teams that they finished in front of in Formula 2, but also in the fact that they, in part, produced Franco Colapinto. They'd worked with Colapinto for a few years. They'd given him the faith, the trust to move with him into Formula 2. And I was really impressed, of course, as everyone was when Colapinto moved into F1, but that wouldn't have happened without the support from MP. So I think it's really important to mention that first off. In terms of their 2025 lineup, I think it's a really strong lineup that MP have put together. Similarly, in a way, to Invicta in terms of the experienced side and then the rookie side, but except that experience that Verschoor has is quite a bit more than Roman Stanek in Invicta. Verschoor had a really impressive 2024. I was really pleased with his performances in a Trident team that didn't always have the pace to be at the front of the grid. Verschoor did a really good job consistently at being there. He finished 8th in the championship. With Trident, he was for most of the season, but moved to MP later on. And he would have actually finished a lot higher than that had he not had a couple of technical disqualifications and also the technical failure in Monaco when if he'd have stayed at the front in that race, then you'd have liked to have thought that he would have gone on and won that race. So for sure, he was so good last season that I'd be surprised if he didn't continue that form with the team he'd worked with between 2016 and 2021 as well. MP like going back to drivers who they've worked with before, who they can trust in. And so Verschoor is the kind of experience side of that. MP have also worked with Oliver Goethe before, of course, last year, but before that as well in other feeder series. And Goethe really impressed me in the latter half of his kind of 2024 cameo last season, finishing 4th and 9th in the Losail and Abu Dhabi feature races, respectively. And Goethe is someone who has always shown pace in Formula 3, but was never able to quite move it onto the consistent level that is required to be competing right at the top end of the championship battle. And that's where I think this could be a really good partnership, because MP only won one race last year with Colapinto in the sprint at Imola. But the reason that they finished third in the championship was because they were so consistent, because they were scoring some points so often in a lot of races. And I think if you can marry Goethe's raw speed up with MP's consistency as a team from last season, I think this could be a really good match. So I think Verschoor and Goethe is a really strong lineup for F2 in 2025 for MP Motorsport.
Great points there from Martin Lloyd. In particular, the MP going back to drivers that they have faith in. They did that very successfully, as Martin said there, with Franco Colapinto, and doing that again with Oli Goethe and Richard Verschoor. Will that combination be very successful? The inexperience of Goethe marrying up with the experience of Richard Verschoor, and that combination, the experience with MP that they both have. Well, that's what Martin Lloyd thinks. Tell us what you think in the comments below.